I am going to save you years of your life by teaching you a lesson that took me years to learn. We only accept the love that we think we deserve. So if somebody is treating you a certain way that you don't like and is perpetually disrespecting you and doing things to you that you wouldn't do to them, it's only happening because you're allowing it to happen in your life. Because people who demand respect, no matter what they feel towards a person, if that other person isn't respecting them in a way that they expect to be treated, they simply remove that person out of your life. No hard feelings. They have the sharpest scissors, and they will use those scissors to cut anything that's causing them chaos in their lives. Like if you're with somebody that's emotionally unavailable for you, like that's weird because I'm emotionally available to myself. I validate my own feelings and you can't validate my feelings. Ugh. Ew, remove, cut, sharp scissors. And that is true standards at work because your standards are actually how you treat yourself and you wouldn't allow any less than from anybody else. So
the number one thing that's going to change your life, the only thing that will change your life, change your business, change your money, change your relationship, is you must raise your standard. And I know that sounds boring, stupid, basic, but it's the truth. The only thing that changes our life long term is when we raise our standards. What does that mean? That sounds so boring and dumb. It means that all of us in life have things we want. We don't get what we want. We get what we have to have. Remember I said earlier, we all get what we tolerate in ourselves and other people. But when you're no longer willing to tolerate something, that's when your life changes. The difference in people is their standards, period. The difference in people is their standards, period. And what do I mean by standards? Everyone in the world has a list of things they think they should do. I should lose weight. I should work out. I should spend more time with my kids. I should work harder. I should make more calls. I should. And then you know what? People don't do their shoulds and they get mad at themselves and they what I call should all over themselves. They beat themselves up about it. What changes people is when your should becomes a must. When suddenly the thing you said should happen has to happen. That's when human beings change.
All right. So this is a very, very important topic today. We are going to talk about standards. Now, the reason I want to talk about this is because I keep seeing people say stuff like, it's going to be a longer video, by the way, so just be ready. But I keep saying people say stuff about like, hey, man, like my family has these foods and they want me to eat it. Or my friends always give me these foods and I have cravings. It's like, bro, if you're fat as shit, your standards should be, my standards are I'm lean as shit. If I'm 50% body fat, I feel fat as shit. And I'm like, yo, I got to lock in. That makes me lock in because that's where my standards are. If you are like 25% body fat or you have a lot of fat to lose and people are offering you stuff and you have cravings, based on your standards, based on what you're willing to tolerate, if you're not willing to tolerate your current physique, you shouldn't be given into any cravings, right? Your want to change where you currently are should be stronger than your want to stay where you currently are, right? Because if you give into cravings, it just means you didn't want to change bad enough. That's all it means. It's not that deep, all right? Like Tony Robbins said, it's like what you're willing to tolerate, right? Like I said, if I'm like 15, if I'm not trying to be 15% body fat, I'm not putting on muscle, and I have like 15% body fat, right? And I don't want to be there, then I'm going to change what I'm doing. I'm not going to simultaneously give into cravings and be like, dang, I'm 15% body fat. Like that's just based on your standards. Another thing is the way people treat you. Like the woman said in her video, a lot of you guys tolerate disrespect from others. And when people disrespect you and you allow it, that means you're disrespecting yourself. Like I always say, all right, because if someone's disrespecting you and you allow it, that means you don't respect yourself. And the only reason they're disrespecting you is because you're allowing it. Me, I'm very, very particular about that kind of stuff. I'll cut off someone, block someone if they're disrespecting me because there's literally, life is too short to be around people who have no respect for you and literally disrespect you 24/7. Right? It's that simple. Like you guys need to raise your standards. Another thing is like, you have to realize that you can literally be anywhere you want to fucking be in life if you set your standards to that point. You feel me? Like a lot of people are like, dang, bro, I just want to make more than 2K a month. If you set your standard to 5K a month, 10K a month, 20K a month, I know people making 50K a month. I know people making 100K a month. I've seen people make 100K in a week. You know what I mean? Because their standards are higher when it comes to that. But if your standards are lower, then you're never going to surpass your standards. It's impossible. It's literally impossible. Like, for example, when it comes to being lean, a lot of people are like, you can't be lean year round. Like I posted a video on TikTok and on Instagram, and I've been seeing people comment on it. They're like, no, you can't be lean year round. That's fine. That's just your standards. That's how you think. Everybody who's lean year round, they're just in their head. They're like, okay, my standard is that I'm lean. I'm going to eat lean. I'm going to be relatively active, maintain muscle, but I'm just going to make sure I'm always eating what I need to eat, which is the most important part about being lean. And that's why they're lean year round. Me, I'm just like, I'm going to see my abs year round because of my habits, right? That goes into your identity, how you see yourself. But if you think you have to have a little bit, like you have to put on a little bit of fluff, no, the fuck you don't. You literally don't, all right? And when it comes to fluff, generally fluff would be 18%, but if you have a lot of muscle in your 18%, you still look really good. Not gonna lie, you still have decent, you know, you're decently on body game, to be honest. But a lot of people use that excuse to just dirty bulk and get fat as shit. And it's like, bro, like you gain mostly fat, no muscle in the process. You see what I'm saying? But it all boils down to standards. Like at the end of the day, me and my friend were talking about this. That's why I only associate with people who are in shape because we have the same mindset, we have the same standards. It just makes more sense, right? I feel like if I am hanging out with people who are out of shape, we have nothing in common, right? And then they're going to disrespect my habits or my thought processes or what I do on a daily basis because they don't understand it. So I'm not going to waste my time doing that and use energy to be like, nah, bro, this is a good idea, and try to convince them and shit. I'm not going to waste my fucking time. I'm just not going to hang out with them. All right, so if someone's fat as shit, they're probably not going to want to hang out with me, and I'm probably not going to hang out with them. We have nothing in common. Simple, right? But I just see a lot of, me and my friend were talking about it. It's like people who are like, dang, man, I just need some motivation or this is that. Listen, if you look in the mirror, me and my friend were saying this. We were like, if I look in the mirror, I'm above 18% body fat. I don't need any more motivation. I'm taking action. All right. And motivation runs out like we all know, but I'm taking action because I don't need anything more than that. I'm literally, if I look in the mirror and I got fucking titties and, you know, I post a picture or I'm on a dating app or some shit and some chick says like, oh my God, your titties look disgusting or some shit like that. I mean, bro, that's more than enough, you know, to be like, okay, I need to make a change because I look like ass, you know what I mean? And I feel like shit. You will feel like shit too when you're out of shape, obviously, right? So it's all based on your standards. So a lot of people, they don't mind looking like shit, feeling like shit 24/7, right? They don't mind all that shit, and that's why they are where they are. Some people don't mind making 3K a month, 4K a month. That's why they're there. You're generally going to, wherever you are in life, I know we don't want to hear this shit, but it's just based on your standards. So as far as like I said, like if you're super out of shape, it's because that's your standards. Like you don't mind overeating, or you don't mind being the leanest person in your family, which means 30% body fat, because everyone else in your family is like 40%. You see what I'm saying? So it's all based on your standards. Like for me, I mean, I got to see at least 4 obliques. You know what I mean? If I see 4 obliques, I'm good. You know what I mean? But in reality, that's really just based on the standards that I have when it comes to hitting the gym consistently and eating what I need to eat. That's what really controls all of that shit. You see what I'm saying? My face, seeing my jawline and shit like that, that's also a side effect of what I'm eating on a daily basis. All that stuff, right? So you guys got to raise your standards if you want to change your life. All right. A lot of people have also said like, dang, man, I want to move out. People have been messaging me since they saw that I'm in Thailand. They're like, oh, I want to move out to Thailand. I want to do this. I want to do that. No, you don't. Because if you did, you would do it. All right. There's really no real questions to doing anything. It's like, if you want to do something, you put your mind to it and you do it. If you don't want to tolerate something and you want to move somewhere else, you do it. You see what I'm saying? Like you just do. Right. If you're like, dang, I'm sick of this, I'm sick of that, you're going to find a way to make it happen if you're sick of it enough. All right. Very, very simple. That's same thing that comes with fat loss. Like a lot of people are like, dang, bro, like I need a secret or I'm tired of being fat. It's like, if you're really tired about being fat, change what you're doing. But a lot of people have told me like, yeah, I'm ready to move out to Thailand, bro. Like how's the workout there and this, that. Like, bro, there's plenty of YouTube videos. Go find out what you need to find out, right? And then make a plan to actually do it if you want to move. But if you don't want to move, then just stop fucking talking. Like people be saying the dumbest shit. A lot of people say more than they do. And then they say, nah, bro, I need help. No, you don't. All right, you don't. You need to take action. And that all starts from changing your fucking standards. Because like I said, I'm going to keep saying standards, because when you make your goals, your standards, you are not going to go below them. All right. The reason you guys are going back on your diet or breaking your diet is because your standard is, you know, where you are currently or where you've been for a long period of time. You're fine with that. You're fine with the 20%, 25%. That's why you've been there for so long. Right, you're fine with that. So if you dip down to 18%, you celebrate by overeating, and that's how you stay at 20%. Very simple shit, right? If I'm at 25%, I'm not comfortable with that. I want to be 10%. So I'm going to do what my 10% self would do, which means making my goals at 25%. My goals at 25%, I'm going to make my goals the same goals that I have at 10%. I'm going to make those my standards, so that I'm going to be doing what I need to do, and it's only a matter of time before I reach where I need to reach. But another thing, like that lady was saying about the having people disrespect you and people, you know, just not like give a fuck about your you know, emotions, or just not give a fuck about you when they do what they do, right? Like the thing about that, oh, I'm just making sure the sound's working. Okay, cool. The thing about that is like a lot of you guys are, and I never really realized that until I listened to a lot of you guys' stories, but a lot of you guys deal with some freaking bullshit when it comes to, you know, when it comes to women, when it comes to dating in general, is because you guys have no fucking respect for yourself. Like you guys deal with the craziest shit I've ever heard in my life. Like paying for expensive dates that you didn't want to go on, and then literally still getting no play, which is just crazy shit. If I go on an expensive date, I wanted to go to that place, and the most expensive place I'll go is to like a steakhouse that has good wine, because it's like, oh, this is the best steakhouse here, so that's why I'll go. But I'm not going to. If a chick is like, oh, let's go to Ruth Chris, I'm not going to Ruth Chris. The fuck I'm gonna get there? It's just overpriced. Or I want to go to Benny Honda's. Okay, take your simp there, and then me and you know, we'll just go to McDonald's or some shit. Get you a fucking cheeseburger if you're so hungry. But like a lot of you guys just deal with a lot of disrespect with women because you don't respect yourself, and you guys need to raise your standards in that aspect. Like you guys need to raise your standards in how people treat you, because how people treat you and how is going to be a reflection of how you treat yourself. And when you're treating yourself well and people are treating you well, you have a higher quality of life, right? That's kind of what the body game thing comes with, because if you're out of shape, that means you don't treat yourself well, and other people don't treat you well either, and you somehow get mad at them. Craziest shit of all time, right? Because in reality, if someone sees that you're out of shape, they're like, oh, okay, they don't care what they eat, they don't treat themselves well, so they treat you bad. And then, you know, you accept them, they're like, yeah, that makes sense, because that's what I expected from them. You see what I'm saying? So you really have to like raise your standards. All right, write down your goals. Like, hey, if you want to make more money, write down how much you want to make. If you want to be leaner, write down what body fat percentage or how lean you want to look or how you want to look overall. These are things that you can do, literally. Like you could implement that after this video. That simple. Like my life didn't actually change until I just literally raised my standards, because a lot of us think that someone's going to come save us or some event is just going to, you know, propel everything forward. And it's like, that shit's just not going to fucking happen. Most people are doing the same shit over and over, expecting something to save them or expecting different results, which is the definition of insanity. It's not going to fucking happen, bro. That's just not going to fucking happen. Like, that's how most people are. They're like, yeah, man. Like, I've seen so many people who will never get fit in their entire life. They're going to be fat and they're soon going to have like type 2 diabetes and high cholesterol, all that other stuff. And I know why. It's because they're like, nah, man, for like 10 years, they've been saying like, nah, bro, like this next paycheck, I'm gonna save it up and then I'm gonna start, you know, buying a juicer. Then I'm gonna buy, you know, some knee sleeves, and I'm gonna buy all this stuff to get ready for the gym. They've been saying that for 10 years instead of starting where they are with what they have. People do that shit all the fucking time. Like, nah, bro, like I'm gonna buy this specific program, but also these other things. They're just creating barriers to themselves to actually start their journey, but also they're not making any changes to actually make that happen. So they're just gonna keep saying, yeah, man, I'm gonna start this January. And it's like, bro, it's either September, August, July, or June, or February, and they'll be like, no, I'll start next January. This is crazy. That means from now to January, you're gonna have low standards and treat yourself like shit. That's what that means. All right, that simple. But yeah, back to the way chicks are treat you guys. Now, everyone can be different. It just depends on, you know, what you want to tolerate and what you're looking for, to be honest. But me personally, like, I have very high cutoff policies, because I am, like I said, a lot of you guys need to get to that point where you're actually comfortable, like legitimately, like comfortable being alone, like you're at peace alone, and you're like, dang, bro, like listen, ain't nothing better than traveling alone. Traveling alone is better than traveling with an annoying bitch. I'm not gonna lie. That's number one. All right, because I've done both. All right, but once you really get comfortable with just being comfortable with yourself, going to the mall, going to the movies, doing a bunch of shit by yourself, like for real, and I'm not saying like, you know, like, I mean, like, seriously, like, comfortable with it, then it's like, you are going to start moving. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like, you're going to start moving like basically a blonde bitch, bro. Like, blonde chicks and light-skinned chicks are at, like, the top of the totem pole, right? So you're going to start moving like them, because that's how I move. It's like a chick will hit me up. Listen, some chick blocked me yesterday because I, like, bailed on her too many times, because I was like, I was like, yeah, she kind of bad, but I don't really feel like linking, you know what I mean? I want to do my own thing. So she ended up, you know, blocking me because she got sick of my shit. But that's kind of how it is, man. It's like a lot of times it's like, I'm just like, nah, bro, I want to stay on my grind. I got a good rhythm going. Let me just keep doing what I'm doing, right? So when you're comfortable being alone as well, your standards could be higher. Because if someone does something or says something you don't want them to say, or if someone's like, I want to do this, and you don't want to do it, then you don't have to do it, right? Because a lot of you guys feel like you need company on Friday night or Saturday night. Oh, I need some company. So you can just take anything, and then you end up hating the chick, or she annoys you or some shit, or she doesn't go by your program or whatever. Like she doesn't operate by your program. I don't have to deal with that shit anymore because I raised my standards. And it's like, okay, if I'm like, yo, I'm trying to see a chick this weekend. I got everything that I need to get done. You know, I got time. You know what I mean? I'll allocate some time, right? And I'll find someone that fits into that standard. If someone doesn't fit into that standard and they're playing games and shit, okay, I'll be alone. I'm chilling type shit, you feel me? And a lot of you guys don't have that ability because you're not comfortable being alone. So if you don't find someone or something, you're like, dang, bro, I need to find anything. And then you end up hanging out with someone that, you know, like I said, doesn't go along with, you know, just disrespects you and shit like that. And like I said, a lot of you guys date people like that, and you have to be very careful because a lot of you guys end up having baby mamas who disrespected you as well. Here's the thing. Respect is something you can't negotiate. Like, that's something you can't negotiate. That is something that is required in every situation. Friendships, relationships, everything, right? Like, if there is no respect there, you need to leave. I don't care how bad the chick is. All right, because if she disrespects you, best believe it's a sign that something bad is gonna happen. Like, if you end up having a baby mama who used to disrespect you, she's gonna make your life a living hell for the rest of the 18 years or however long you got to do the child support or the co-parenting shit. So you need to make sure that right now you are very self-aware, right? Make sure you treat yourself well, but also make sure you raise your own standards. Raise your own standards, because it's crazy. Like, I've seen in the past 5 years, I've seen, and I'm still not at that point, and I want to get there. That's my goal. But I've seen some of the highest quality, like, living from some of my friends and some other people, just the highest quality living, just because their standards, like, they don't know like what a decently low quality life is, or like a moderate life is, or a regular life is. Their standards are so high that they've always had a great life. Like, for example, I got one friend, right? My homeboy, he's he's in a frat, or he was in a frat, but his life standards are so high that his life is just like literally his normal day, it would be any of our best days. I'm talking about everybody here. It would be any of our best days. Like, he's only dated like consensus. I think maybe he accidentally dated 8.5, maybe, but he only has dated like consensus 9s and 10s, right? Now, they're not thick enough for me. They're not like some thick, but they got a little bit of curves and shit like that. But he's only dated, and now he's with like a Colombian chick or whatever, but he's only dated consensus like 10s, like literally his entire life. And he, sometimes he'll see an 8 and he'll be like, yeah, she's just not it. And I'm like, I don't know what kind of 8 that is for you, bro, but that is like, you know what I mean? So his standards has always been high, no debt, great income. Like, his standards have always been high, right? And that's why his life is the way it is. And other people will look at it and be like, that's not fair, he's lucky. And it's like, if you raise your standards to his level, now, it's not going to happen overnight, but if you raise your standards to his level, eventually you're going to have to get to that point, because you do what you do based on what your standards are, right? Like I said, if you sit down on the couch and at the end of your job that you hate, and you sit your Ben and Jerry's on top of your stomach and you eat while you watch your Cowboys lose, or you watch the 49ers play, or you watch ESPN highlights and stuff like that, that's your standard, right? That's your standard. You don't mind having the big stomach, you don't mind eating the Ben and Jerry's, right? Which is why you got insulin resistance, why you got to shave, and why your dating life sucks, or you're in a sexless marriage, right? That's the reason, because you're allowing these things to happen. The issue with this standard raising, by the way, is the self-accountability aspect. All right, because most of the time we think everything happens to us, but what happens to us is not always controllable. We can react, we control how we react to it, but a lot of times the environment that we're in, the situations we put ourselves in, we control those. All right, so like I said, if your environment is ass, all right, like if everybody around you is just negative and is not going in the direction you want to go in, there's nothing that scares me more or makes me feel more alone than being around people who are not locked in. I can't do that shit. I cannot be around people who are not locked in. All right, I just can't do it, because the funny thing is, like, very rarely do I meet people who have the same standards as I do and stuff like that, which is usually why when I link up with my boys, we be chilling, we be talking, we be chopping it up, and we got good vibes. Because the average person would be like, yeah, man, like, I just don't know how you're getting lean, man. And I'm just like, nigga, what the fuck are you eating, bro? Oh, you eat, like, you just look at them, you're like, you clearly eat hot dogs, bro. Like, you look like you eat fucking Hot Pockets. Like, what are you doing, bro? You're like, what you eat, obviously it affects your physique. Who fucking cares? It's really important as far as your brain function, your mental cognition, your energy levels, your visceral fat levels. These are literally very, very important for your health. So, like, what you eat is super important, and you do it all day long. Like, the thing that you do most in life, besides taking a piss, is eating. Like, that's what you do the most in life. You eat like most people eat like 3 to 6 times a day. So change that and your physique will change. Simple. All right. But yeah, a lot of people, people say they want different careers. A lot of people say, man, I wish I could be in online coaching, make money. Why the fuck aren't you in shape? That's step number 1 to even considering it. Number 2, once you get in shape, people around you are going to want they're going to want you to train them, period. That's how life works. Because guess what? Transformations are rare. All right. You guys see my transformation. I post it all the time. That shit's rare. How many people will achieve that? Not a lot of people. People aren't achieving that shit. All right. And if people lose more weight than I do, they're not losing as much fat and maintaining as much muscle. They're just not fucking doing it. All right. It's not happening. Transformations are rare. All right. I've been in the game a long time. I've been on social media a long time. Transformations are real. Every time I see one, it's like, yo, this shit's crazy. If there's a really crazy transformation, it's getting sent to everybody because it just doesn't happen often. All right, especially if it's natural. But yeah. So anybody that's saying, "Oh, I want to be an online coach," if you're not like, you know, between 10 to 15% body fat with a decent amount of muscle mass, then you're already unqualified. You're not qualified. It's over. Your dream just ended. You're like 30% body fat. You can't even coach yourself. Coach yourself first, and then everyone around you is gonna automatically want you to coach them. Because they're gonna be like, what the fuck? I saw you last year. You didn't look like this. Now you look crazy. What happened? Come on, bro. Like, that's how shit happens. It's not rocket science. That's how shit happens. All right. So I'm just saying that because a lot of people say like, dang, man, like that's crazy. But also, if you want to be like an entrepreneur, social media person, just be ready to work more hours than the average person. You're not working 40 hours a week. It's just not fucking happening. If you can find a way to work 40 hours a week, you're the first social media person / entrepreneur in literally the history of the world to work 40 hours in a week. Congratulations. Now, I'm talking about if you don't want your business to just, you know, go downhill, right? You got to work like at least 80 hours, bro. You got to be doing at least something every day. All right. Got to be doing at least something every day. But yeah, if you want to get better in any situation in life, y'all, raise your fucking standards. Very, very important. Like that's probably the number one thing I'd be seeing with people who are just like, dang, man, like, I don't know, like I'm struggling with my diet. I'm struggling to stay consistent. No, you're not. You aren't sick of where you are enough to make a change. When you can't tolerate looking in the mirror and being out of shape and feeling sluggish and getting disrespected, when you can't tolerate that, you will change your standards and you will change your actions. And then guess what? You will be respected, you will be in shape, and you will respect yourself. That simple.